Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm here to do a little comparison video. This is something that was requested of me, and it is a comparison between the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation and the Mac Pro Longwear foundation. Now, as you guys know, I've already reviewed both of these products, so if you haven't already seen those reviews, I would recommend checking those out before you watch this video, just so you guys can get a better understanding of what these foundations are supposed to do. Basically, the reason why I'm comparing these is because they're both designed to be extremely long-wearing foundations. They both claim to last for up to 15 hours. They're both considered high-end foundations as well. So it's kind of a likely comparison. Both of these are sort of the drugstore alternative to these, I guess you could say, would be the Revlon Color Stay. So if you're looking for a long-wearing drugstore foundation and you don't want to spend the money on either the Pro Longwear or the Double Wear, you should definitely check out Revlon Color Stay, and I have a review of the Revlon Color Stay as well. That is definitely probably one of my all-time favorite foundations, so I would definitely check that out if you're interested in a long-wearing foundation but you maybe don't want to spend the money on one of these foundations. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started and talk about some of the basic differences between these foundations. First of all, I wanted to touch on the coverage level. The Mac Pro Longwear foundation is a light to medium coverage, while the Estee Lauder Double Wear is a medium to full coverage foundation. Both of these come with 1 fluid ounce, and I believe they're very similar in price. They're both around $30. I think the Estee Lauder one is a couple dollars more. I think this one might be $34 and this one is like $30 or something, but I might be wrong on that. As for the finish, the Estee Lauder is more of a natural to matte finish. Most people will call the Estee Lauder Double Wear a matte finish. I definitely think that there are foundations out there that have a more matte finish than the Estee Lauder Double Wear, but for argument's sake, I would call this more of a matte finish. And the Mac Pro Longwear is more of a natural finish, but you can make this appear more matte by setting it with a powder. As far as blendability, in my opinion, I think the Double Wear is easier to apply. The Pro Longwear for me is really hard to blend, and you have to use a lot more product to get good coverage. And that to me is frustrating because when I use the Estee Lauder Double Wear, I don't have to use hardly any product at all. And I used to use my MAC 187 and I just apply a very, very small, thin layer all around my face and I get excellent coverage. I don't have to wear any concealer or anything like that. It's really great. Now, the Pro Longwear, I definitely do have to conceal under my eyes for sure. And it's also a lot harder to blend, but this product you can't really build to be a full coverage. The Estee Lauder Double Wear will become full coverage very quickly if you want it to be full coverage. It's very easy to get this foundation to be full coverage because it has such amazing coverage. But I wouldn't recommend trying to build the Pro Longwear to become a full coverage foundation. Instead, I would suggest using a concealer in conjunction with this foundation to really give yourself that more coverage. This foundation is a really good everyday foundation because it doesn't, have a really, really strong coverage, but I wouldn't recommend building it because I think it can get very cakey very quick. But I think in general, both of these foundations have a thick formula, and so they can both get very cakey very quick. So you have to be really careful when you're using either of these foundations to really start with a pea-sized amount and then layer on more depending on what kind of coverage you need and what kind of results you're looking to create. I would also suggest with both of these foundations using some kind of buffer brush like this. I think the flat top makes it really easy to, move around. I also really like the Sigma F80 buffer brush. I just think it makes the product really easy to control because it is a little bit more of a thicker formula. Something like the Sephora 50 number 55, you're not going to be able to control the product as well. So you have to really keep that in mind when you're working with these foundations. You can use a traditional foundation brush, just a regular foundation brush, but for me personally, I have found it's much easier to use a buffer brush with a flat top. It really blends it in, it really shears out the coverage. You don't want to look like you're wearing a mask of makeup, and you don't want it to look too thick. And especially, well, really with both of these foundations, if you don't apply them correctly, you can definitely end up looking like you are wearing a mask of makeup. Just for reference, today I'm wearing the Pro Longwear foundation. It has a more medium coverage, but I have set this with a powder so you can see it does look extremely matte right now. So if you like a matte finish, there's definitely more versatility in this product than with the Estee Lauder Double Wear. Now, the Estee Lauder Double Wear does get more dewy throughout the day, especially if you have normal to oily skin. When I first put on the Estee Lauder Double Wear, it looks really matte, but by hour like 4 or 5 or 8 or whatever, basically later in the day, it will start looking a little bit more of a natural finish, which I don't mind at all. But I would rather start the day matte and then go natural, and start the day natural and then turn into oily. But if you have drier skin, you know, you might experience more of a matte finish with the Estee Lauder Double Wear than I have personally. So overall, that's just my little comparison. If you have any other questions between these two foundations, please let me know. I think they're both really great products. Overall, I reach for the Estee Lauder Double Wear a little bit more just because for me it takes less time, it blends easier, it covers better, it's less fussy, it controls my oil a little better, and I just don't really have to worry about it at all. But I just got the Pro Longwear, so I'm still kind of like experimenting with it. But I do think they're both really great. You just have to decide, maybe depending on the coverage and the finish, what one would be better for you. They both last 15 hours, and I have tested that out, so that definitely they both last 15 hours. I do think that the Double Wear lasts a little bit longer. The coverage stays put a little better longer throughout the day than the Pro Longwear. The Pro Longwear will stay on your face, but you'll start kind of seeing the coverage dissipate in certain areas, and you can kind of see redness and some of the uneven skin tone kind of poking through because it is more of a light to medium foundation. So anyway, I hope this comparison was helpful for you guys. Please let me know if you have any questions on these foundations. I'd be more than happy to answer for you, and thanks for watching. Bye!